And my friends, I can't think of anybody that I'm more proud to bring up than our first blockchain president. He is an incredible human, incredible individual. I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years. He also was invited into this conversation, did not know this core group of people, but he was already working on a solution to help humanity have better food. Not just so that we could eat better, healthy food, but so that it would actually be helpful to the farmers. Right now, there's a big challenge in the world with farmers. They're having a challenge financially. They can't afford to do what they do. But this next gentleman you're going to meet, Will Taylor, is an incredible man. He is absolutely committed to changing the world and what we consume as far as food and how that whole system operates. So here's what I'm going to ask. It's going to be a 4-hour event. I'm going to ask everyone to stand up. Let's do a quick little break. I want everybody to stand up. We're going to give a round of applause to my friend and the Grow brand president, Mr. Will Taylor. Help me bring him to the stage, everybody. Give him a huge hand. Woo! Hey, buddy.
Hey, thank you, everyone. One of the best welcomes to the stage is just staring at the chat, and I see Jimmy Sapp saying, just bought food with Grow tokens. Their honey and beef is awesome, the very best. It's amazing. Today we're going to talk about food, we're going to talk about nourishment, but I need you guys to go to the chat. Let's just wake up the chat for a minute. Go put in what you had for breakfast, okay? Think about it. I'm going to come back to make you think about your food a little bit later today, but go put what you had for breakfast today. Good, I got quiche, protein shake, corn and oats, juice. Amazing. All right, everyone, welcome to the Grow blockchain. The Grow blockchain is here to harness blockchain technology to nourish people, animals, and the planet. Our mission is to nourish the entire world, not just us as human beings, as the stewards of this planet, but also the soil, the atmosphere, the animals, the plants. Everything that goes into that comes down to us. And our mission is to bridge the tradition of the past with the technology of today so that we can truly nourish it. And our vision is to decentralize the global agriculture and farming industry. And the reason that that's so important is because right now, it looks something like this. There's 10 centralized companies that control the entire industry. Now, coming out of the Great Depression, that solved a lot of things, right? We have global distribution of food. There's almost nowhere in the world where we can't get some kind of nourishment to. However, I want you to look at this graph on the screen, and I want you to try to look into some of those food items that you see. And I want you to think about the ingredients that may be in some of those foods. I want you to look at the pictures and see how many pictures of apples, beef, cherries, bananas. Do you see those? Now, one of the problems that's been created with this centralized system is we've gone away from what actual nourishment is. We're not feeding ourselves, we're not feeding the soil, we're not feeding the things that we are supposed to be stewards of well. And we have to change that. And what we're talking about today and what you just heard Jim describe was an entirely new way of doing things so that we can create a decentralized system and solve the problems that the current centralized system has created. And we have to do that by thinking about two groups of people. And every single person listening to this right now is going to fit into one of these two groups. So the first group is farmers. And we have to make the producers, the farmers, and the ranchers the hero of the story again. When you think about that last slide, who are the producers? Who created that food? Do you know who they are? No, we're completely separate from that. The second group of people we have to think about is the people who eat. And luckily, all of you already put your breakfast in the chat. Everybody has to eat. Yes, you may be able to go fast. In fact, I know some people on this call that have gone 20, 40 days without eating. But after that, you got to eat. Everybody has to nourish our bodies, our minds, and our souls, okay? And so we want to make producers the hero of the story again, and we want to return our confidence and trust in the quality and source of our food. Now, I want to do a little bet with you guys, okay? So I want everybody to think. Give me a minute. I need about a minute of your thinking caps on, and we're going to do a little bet. You already thought about your breakfast, but now I want you to think about the last 3 days, okay? Think about the liquids you consumed, the water that you ate. Think about the food that you put into your body. Okay, you got that? Now I want you to think about if you know what the ingredients were of the foods that you ate. Okay, do you know what it was? Or was it some long science word that you have no idea how to pronounce? As you think about that, do you know where it came from? Do you know the producer? Do you know the rancher? Do you know who actually put the blood, sweat, and tears into growing that and getting it to your table and into your body? Now, my almost guarantee is that nobody can win that bet right now. And I could guarantee it because I've done this presentations to thousands of people all over the world, and I've yet to lose the bet. But the beautiful thing is in our lifetime and in our children's lifetimes, we're going to be able to lose that bet because we have the technology to bring everything together, okay? But we have to think differently to do it, and it's going to take all of us coming together. I love this quote by Henry Ford. He said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Today, we're sitting here looking at a new frontier, a new world ahead of us. And the thing that we have to break is some of our old patterns, the patterns that create centralization and separateness. We're not building a faster horse. We're actually doing something entirely different. And we're moving into a new world, a new way of thinking. Web 1 was the information economy. Think of Google, all right? Most of us on here have used Google or a search engine. You got on. All of a sudden, we had all this information at our fingertips, okay? Then we moved into the platform economy. We're using it right now. We're on a platform, whether that's Zoom or YouTube, that we're leveraging to get this message out into the world. However, us, the creators and the consumers that are using these platforms, we don't own it, we don't control it, and we don't really have a say in where it goes, how our data is used, how the profits are used, and it's really not bringing us to a good place. And so we moved to Web 3. And the way I want you to think about this is the ownership economy. This is how the producers and the consumers come together, and that everyone that takes positive actions into the world, we own it. We get to decide what the future says, not be told by some centralized system what we're going to do. That's the world that we're moving into. And who are we? When we think about ourselves, we are pioneers. We're the ones. We're the ones that have to go out and change it. And the reason that I like to bring this up is this is the key to the new system. Many of us wait around. We wait to be told what to do. We wait for somebody to say, this is the way to do it. That's not the way this system works. If we want to solve the problems that we're talking about today, every single one of us are going to have to lift where we stand. We're going to have to put in the work to actually make the change, to go from a centralized system to a blockchain. We're like this graphic on the right. Every single colored dot is one of us. It's an owner. It's an operator. It's someone creating positive actions into the system. And so what is this blockchain thing that we're talking about? What is this decentralized system? We know that a problem exists. We know that we have to change it. But blockchain provides the cornerstones for that. It's publicly shared. It's immutable, meaning it's transparent and everyone can see it moves forward. And then what it does very simply is it records transactions and tracks assets. And on the Grow blockchain, a blockchain for all agriculture-related products and services, we create that for the entire agriculture world based around the mission to nourish the world. And there's a ton of ways that we can use this, okay? But when you think about these blockchains today, I want you to think of them as the center. They're this new railroad that we get to build on. And then everything outside are the cars that get to be built on top of it. And I want to talk very briefly today about some of the really cool cars that are currently running on the Grow blockchain. First is Farm Tracer. Farm Tracer was built. This was my introduction into the agriculture world. My best friend from college was a third-generation farmer, and he called me one day, and he said, I'm putting millions of dollars into our farm to create the most sustainable regenerative practices, and nobody cares. Can you help me find a way to show that? And so we started it over 10 years ago, and it's brought us here today, so that we could take the farming of yesterday and move it to the farming of today. We've been farming animals and plants have been growing on the earth from the very beginning. That's yesterday. Today looks like this, where we can bridge that tradition of the past and connect it with the best technologies of today, which are blockchain, AI, and crypto. And so what Farm Tracer does is it leverages farm data, the positive actions taking on the farm. It runs that through AI aggregation, and then it takes that data, puts it on the blockchain, and allows us to provide transparency for the world of what's happening, so that the best producers that are taking those practices to nourish the world, and us who want the best food possible, we can actually know where it's coming from and see where it goes. Now, as part of that process, we actually have a product called EcoMint. And what EcoMint does is it takes the positive actions of farmers, takes their data, can create accreditation for them, and create new revenue sources for them. One of the partner farms, the one I was just talking about, got a $27 million check wired to them in the last month because of the efforts that they have taken and the way that we're going forward. So not only does this nourish the world, but it actually puts the power and the economy back in with the farmers, so that all of us can actually have a true nourished marketplace where we're connected with the origins of our food, and not just knowing where it came from, but being connected and aware of what went into getting it there. Because if we truly want to change the things that we see going forward in the world, we have to know what's happened. We have to understand the past. We have to understand all of the actions that happen in the process. And with that awareness, we can go out and truly change the world. And so that we move from a centralized system into a blockchain system. And if anything that I've said has resonated with you today, and you want to know more, blockchain is this big, expansive thing. I remember when I got into it. Jim mentioned I got invited to this meeting, the same place that picture that he was at. And I heard the word blockchain, I heard the word decentralization, and I heard the word AI, and I had no idea how to do it. In fact, I was coming from an industry where I helped people with their health. I owned gyms. I coached people all over the world, and I knew that food was the key, but I didn't know how to connect all of the dots. And I would imagine that many of you sitting here today don't know how to connect all the dots either. But the first dot that needs to be connected is just being here today listening. The next one is taking the actions to go forward, learn more, learn what the next actions are, and continue to walk forward with faith, knowing that the vision is here. And not only has the vision been here and we have it going forward, but the technology is here. And when we bridge those two things together, everything starts to change. And so if anything that I've said has resonated with you today, and you want to help nourish not only yourself, but the planet, the animals, the plants, the atmosphere, the soil that we have the pleasure of walking on every single day, then join us. Every single week, we're going to add more. We're going to grow our community. And at the QR code on the screen, you can join us, and we're going to dive way deeper into all of the things that we're going to do, and so that you can find your place. Your place may be on stage with me next time. Your place may be in Australia or India or South America, talking to farmers, talking to consumers, talking to grocery stores. I don't know what it is, but we're going to help you find that. And when we all come together and we do it as a community, then everything will start to shift. That's Grow, guys. Let's make sure we go out and nourish the world.